Hello there.
So in this video, we are discussing the new quote that we have from Takashi Yamazaki, hinting at some details for the upcoming Godzilla -1 sequel that actually give us some little hints at what the plot could contain, and how they are definitely hinting at the fact that they are adapting another monster into this film, as opposed to just expanding on the Godzilla story going into Godzilla 0, or Godzilla -1 the sequel, or Godzilla -0, or Godzilla -2. I don't know what the title is going to be. Godzilla 0 just sounds like the best bet for me, but we're getting into it all in this video. If you guys enjoy my Godzilla content, check out my channel. I have a whole bunch more stuff like this, especially surrounding the Monsterverse, and let's get into it.
The Atomic Fair.
So I wanted to make a video on the -1 sequel and give you guys some updates on where we are at with the production, because it has been, quite a while since I've talked about it on this channel, and beyond that, it seems to kind of be all quiet on the set, as opposed to the Monsterverse, where they are intentionally, I would say they're probably intentionally leaking out potential plot details like a few months before they started shooting. I feel like that leak may have even came from Legendary, but that's just me thinking with my tinfoil hat. But beyond that, they're continuing to trickle information from casting details to now shooting information and set photos, an official title reveal, production dates, all kinds of stuff. But with the Takashi Yamazaki -1 sequel, we are a little bit more in the dark, but we do have a surprising amount of information, as well as a new quote telling us where we are at in terms of this film. So we're getting into it all in this video, and a lot of people right now are thinking that, Noriko's character and the little scratch on her neck that we saw at the end of the movie, kind of hinting that there could be potential G cells that she has taken into her body, are going to lead to some kind of transformation or something like that into the next villain of the movie. I think that is, I don't know, that would be really crazy if it happened. I would love to see something like that, and I would love to see her kind of combined with maybe the origin story of Biollante and stuff like that to create a new version of Hedorah, or maybe even take her DNA to create something like that. But it does take things into a pretty fantastical world, whereas the Godzilla -1 movie, although it involves a giant freaking lizard kaiju being Godzilla, it does kind of stay grounded in a lot of ways, and the diving into Noriko becoming a Godzilla villain in the next movie would really jump in terms of the tone, in terms of the fantastical concepts that it would be introducing. I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards the idea that we would either get Hedorah introduced organically in the form of some kind of smog monster, or similar to the origin story, nuclear waste or something like that, evolves into a form of Hedorah. It could combine with G cells or something like that in the ocean. Any of that is probably a little bit more realistic than Noriko evolving into a Godzilla villain, but they didn't tease that for nothing. So we are probably going to see that touched on in the Godzilla -1 sequel, and we know this for sure because Takashi Yamazaki had shared things on X back in July of 2024, stating that there's a big mystery surrounding the mark on Noriko's neck, and kind of hinting at the fact that he would delve into this further in a sequel. And I don't think that he is such an unintelligent writer that he would leave that on the cutting room floor. So something is going to happen with that, but a lot of fans are thinking that we're going to see it evolve into Hedorah. I don't really know if that's the case, but a lot of fans are thinking it's going to be Hedorah because Takashi Yamazaki himself came out and said that he would love to do a Godzilla film surrounding the villain Hedorah, as he finds him very unique and hasn't been touched in a lot of years. Beyond that, we could potentially maybe see Biollante, especially if they go into the idea of them touching on the Noriko story even more. But going further than that, and the most practical, realistic option that I think we see here is either Hedorah or maybe Anguirus. Anguirus was the first major villain in the Godzilla series in the second Godzilla movie, Godzilla Raids Again. He's a very organic villain. He could just be another giant monster similar to Godzilla, and I could really see them playing into that in a sequel. What Takashi Yamazaki has come out and said really recently about this movie is essentially that he's pouring a lot of passion into it, that it is a big undertaking to develop this sequel film and try to make it even better than the first movie, which is already an amazing sign because it tells us that he's pouring so much passion into this movie. But he had this to say about the sequel. The previous film showed us an unexpected view, and now the task of this film is to surpass the previous one. We are looking for a crew to go with us to subjugate a difficult but rewarding monster. I find that very interesting and a very ambiguous statement, because while it could definitely be most likely just talking about the production of this movie being a bigger monster than the first one, I also also think he could be referencing another monster coming into the Godzilla -1 sequel, which is the most likely option right now. They're most likely going to develop another villain. Yamazaki himself even came out in previous quotes stating that he would find it to be really interesting to create a story nearly as good as the first -1 movie, but with the added element of another villain coming into the fold. So comment down below, guys. Let me know what you think about all this stuff, because right now, as it stands, Yamazaki is clearly pouring his heart and soul into this sequel to try to make it better, or at least on par with the first movie. It seems like we're going to get a grounded villain, and we are going to get a kaiju villain for the second movie, but we're going to most likely get probably a grounded villain, being either Hedorah, or I'd have to think that we're going to see Anguirus return in the Godzilla Toho universe. So comment down below what you guys think about all of this stuff. I will keep you up to date on this movie as we get closer to production and we get more stuff announced. I'll be covering it all right here on this channel, so stay tuned for that. And for this video, guys, that is all I got. So until the next one, be safe or stay well. Bye-bye.